Aleph Zion. Okay, Aleph Zion. We may not take wives during Kol Moed. Neither virgins nor widows nor may marriage be entered into, because it is a source of joy for the one who does. However, one may remarry his divorcee. A woman may make her adornments during Kol Moed. Rabbi Yehuda says she may not apply lime because it is a disfigurement to her. Now wait a second. We said during Kol Moed you can't get married during Kol Moed.
That's correct, because we don't mix the smachot. There's a simcha moed, and that must be given its own priority. The concern is that the chassan will be all about making his color happy, and he won't pay enough attention to the simchas yom tov, and it'll come to zilzul yom tov.
So what am I thinking of? I was just got confused. I was thinking of something else. Oh, all right. It's like when we have oh my gosh, there goes my head again. When we have before Pesach, when we have Sphira, and then right after Sphira, they want to get married. Spheres, right. Like that's what I was thinking about. I don't know why I got that mixed up, but yeah. Okay. But if there's one day when they usually fast, the custom call it fast, but they don't have to fast if it's is it called a Moed? They don't have to fast, or what is it? They don't have to fast. The custom call it, they have the wedding.
I think it might be on Rosh Chodesh.
Yes, okay, that's right. You're right. Rosh Chodesh. That's what I was getting mixed up. Kol Moed and Rosh Chodesh. I was getting mixed up. I mean, it's only over 53 years, so I forgot. Okay, we are on the Chet. An unskilled person may sew in his usual manner, but an artisan may sew only with irregular stitches. We may interlace supports for beds. Rabbi Yossi says we may even tighten them. We may set up an oven or stove or millstones during Kol Moed. Rabbi Yehuda says we may not roughen the millstones initially.
So you're allowed to do the malacha because if it's for ochel nefesh, for baking for the moed, it's fine. Where Rabbi Yehuda says that, but initiating the millstones, because they start out smooth and they have to chip them to make them rough. So that he says is too much work to do on the moed. Okay. Osin make legag v'lemipeset maaseh hediot. So you're allowed to put up a railing around your roof, or mipeset, just as a common builder would do, right? Not as a professional builder. Aval lo maaseh uman. You can't do this in the professional way. You can do it for the sake of being yotzei mitzvah, but wait until after the moed and to put up the nice fancy wrought iron work or whatever. Okay. Shafin es ha sedakin umagilin osan b'magela b'yad u'b'regel. So you are allowed to that is to plaster the cracks inside in the roof, so that the water doesn't come into the house. This is considered a need of the moed. Magilin osan b'magela, which means that you are allowed to roll wood. You're allowed to roll a round wood thing over the plaster in order to smooth it. Okay, so that it looks okay, so it doesn't look like it's a completely patch up home job. Biyad over regel, that you can do it with your hand or with your foot, whatever works best for you. Aval ba machletzayim, which is a specialized machletzayim is a specialized kli used by the builders, which they use to smooth the plaster. So what is the translation of machletzayim?
It says a hinge or a socket or a beam or a lock as a key that broke may be repaired during Kol Moed. One ahead of you. It says roll them with a roller with the hand and the foot.
Oh my God, my internet's gone. Okay, my internet is flaky.
Oh, this I said.
Right, so we're getting the translation of the word machletzayim.
Zion. It says a trowel, not with a trowel.
Not with a trowel.
That's right.
Trowel, that's the word. Okay. Hatzir v'hatzinor v'hakora v'manul v'maftech shenishberu. So this is a hinge. Tzinor is a pipe. Kora is a beam. Manul is a lock. Maftech is a key. Shenishberu. Any of these things that got broken in the house, metaknin b'moed. You're allowed to fix them on chol hamoed. Why? Because this is, of course, it's a need that you have on the moed, because if you leave your house unlocked, it's vulnerable to robbers and whatever else. So that it's completely legit to fix that on the moed. But what you can't do is deliberately say, I don't have time to fix this now. I'm too busy preparing for Pesach. Got to cleaning the house. I'll leave it until Chol Hamoed when I've got more time, and then I'll fix the roof. No, that doesn't work. That then is actually specifically a knas that you're not allowed to do it. If you deliberately said that you're going to leave the work for Chol Hamoed, then even though you would normally have been allowed to do it, and it would have been a davar aved, that's not allowed. So what we're talking about here is a davar aved that you're allowed to do. Even if it existed, even if you knew it was broken before Chol Hamoed and just didn't have time to get to it before Chol Hamoed, that's okay. But if you deliberately leave it to then we could be saying, yeah, that's when I'll do it. That's not allowed. Okay.
If you verbally declare that you're going to do it during Chol Hamoed, that's not allowed. But if you can't have the das to say that I'm going to do it during Chol Hamoed, you just have to.
Whether it's verbal or whether it's just an intention, that's not allowed. Okay. And any pickles that he can eat from them on Chol Hamoed, he's allowed to make a pickle. So if he's comes first day Chol Hamoed and he wants to pickle some food, as long as it'll be ready for him to eat sometime during Chol Hamoed or on the last Yom Tov, that's okay. But he can't prepare pickles that he's only going to be eating after Chol Hamoed. Okay. Mishe hafach es zeisav. So the way they used to prepare olives was they would take all the olives and pile them into a barrel, and they would leave them there to kind of ferment and go soft.
Right.
Okay. And part of the process is turning them over, just stirring them and letting them mix so that they ripen evenly. But ero, avel, or ones. So once you start by turning them over, he's starting the process in motion, and you've got to take them out at a certain point. The error or able or honest, and something happened to him. He had chas v'shalom, somebody in his family died, or he had some other unforeseen circumstance that prevented him from continuing his work, or shehit uhud poalim, or the workers didn't turn up for work. Right? He'd hired people and they didn't come. So what is he allowed to do to fix the situation? To'en kora rishona umenicha le'achar hamoed. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda says he can't complete the malacha for himself on Chol Hamoed. It's even there is a certain loss, so he must do the minimum work possible in order to avoid the loss. He can take the first beam and put it on top and just sort of leave it by itself and let the oil come out. So just so that a bit of the oil will come out and he'll be able to rescue that oil. Rabbi Yossi Omer zolef v'gav kedarko. He is allowed to finish the work entirely. So he was intending to finish it all before Chol Hamoed, and then this accident happened. Something happened that was beyond his control, and he wasn't able to complete it before Chol Hamoed. So Rabbi Yossi says he can finish it 100% normal way on Chol Hamoed, and the halacha follows Rabbi Yossi that we allow him to do this because it's a davar aved. He's going to lose it if he doesn't do the work.
Right.
Okay. Mishna base is very similar situation. Same machlokes between the same bali machlokes and same principles. So a guy's got his wine inside the pit. And he's got a certain time limit that he's got to get the wine out. the same an accident happens and he's unable to complete it before the Moed. So again, Rabbi Yossi says, finish it on Chol Hamoed, it's fine, do it the normal way that you would during Chol. And
So Rabbi Huda who says that?
And again, Rabbi Yehuda takes the more machmir position. They reverse the order in which they stated the opinions, but it's the same people saying the same opinions. Where Rabbi Yehuda says, just make, put planks on top of the pit, so that it shouldn't go, so that you stop the air circulation and it shouldn't go sour, but you can't do any more work than that. And again, the halacha follows Rabbi Yossi.
Are they concerned the fact that the wine will sour and get bad, and it's a big loss for them?
Yeah,
that's
right. That's exactly.
Rather than the olives, it's not such a big loss. What they're saying.
Well, I mean, with the olives, there is also a loss involved in the olives, of course. And olive oil per volume is more expensive than wine.
Really? Oh,
yeah. Is it?
I figure out which is like the really good olive oil, you know.
I think almost definitely in the time of the Mishna, the olive oil was more expensive than the wine. Because I mean, I don't know if you've read any sort of timepieces like Alexandre Dumas. If you look at the Count of Monte Cristo or the Three Musketeers, they are, these are people who, especially the Three Musketeers, they're not people from the upper crust of society. They're just sort of regular poor people, and they are drinking wine by the flask. It's just wine is their water.
Right. So, okay.
It's not a luxury item as far as this is talking about in sort of pre-French Revolution? I think it's pre-French Revolution France. That the Three Musketeers. Yeah. So it's yeah.
I hate to ask this, but they were real people. Oh, it was just a story. Okay, all right. The way you were saying it sounded like it were real people who were going,
But he's writing it to be sort of historically accurate, and that was just kind of the culture. He wasn't saying that, he wasn't making a big thing of the fact that look, we can drink wine. It's just they're sitting there and saying, hey, pass me a flask of wine and let's go.
Yeah, I know why. I never read that. I never read it.
Oh, they're terrific. I love them. Absolutely love those books.
Okay, Gimel.
Yeah, Megillah Gimel base.
Oh, wait a second. Oh no! Oh, we finished already. That's right. We finished. Okay. Megillah. Okay. Here we go. Gimel base. What am I doing that for? Okay. We're doing Gimel base Gimel. Rabbi Yehuda said further, in a synagogue.
What? Hold on. What are you saying? Gimel base Gimel. It's Perek Gimel Mishna base.
I have Gimel base Gimel. No.
Well, we're doing Gimel as well, but first do Mishna base.
Base.
Okay. And Boker in basic Knesses.
Okay. They may not sell a synagogue except on the condition that if they wish, they may repurchase it. This is the opinion of Reb Meir. The comments say, however, that they may sell it permanently and for any purpose except for the following four uses: a bathhouse, a tannery, a mikveh, or a water closet. Reb Yehuda says they may sell it as a courtyard and the purchaser may do it as he pleases. Reb Yehuda said further, in a synagogue that has been destroyed, one may not offer eulogies therein, twist ropes therein, spread nets therein, spread produce on its roof, nor use it as a shortcut. For the Torah states, and I shall make desolate your sanctuaries. This implies that they are holy even when they are desolate, and the grass grew in the ruins, one may not detach it because of grief. On the first day of Adar, which falls on the Shabbos, we read the portion of Shkolem. It ends the reading of Shkolem to the Shabbos before and interrupt the reading of the four parshos on the next Shabbos. On the second Shabbos, we read the portion of Zachar. Remember what Amalek did. On the third Sabbath, we read the portion of Pashas Aduma, the red cow. And on the fourth Shabbos, we read the portion of HaKodesh Hazer, Lechem. This month shall be to you. On the fifth Shabbat, we resume reading the regular order. For all the following occasions, we interrupt the regular order on Rosh Chodesh, on Hanukkah, on Purim, on public fast, on Mamados, and on Yom Kippur. Okay,
What's that?
so
Hey.
we're changing the order this week? No. Yeah.
This week, no, there's no special parsha this time.
No, it's the next one.
Zachor is next week, yeah.
Okay, Besa. But a flame everywhere. A live coal of temple property is subject to Mila, and a flame may not be used, but one does not commit sacrilege. One who takes out a live coal into the public domain is liable, but a flame is exempt. The well of an individual as the feet of the individual, and of the people of that city as the feet of the people of that city, and of those who ascended from the Bavel as the feet of the one who draws. If one had produce in another city and the people of that city made an Erev to bring him this produce, they may not bring it to him. But if he made an Erev, his produce is as himself. And if one invited guest, they may not take away portions with them unless he granted them possession of their portion before Yom Tov. One may not water or slaughter animals in the field, but one may water or slaughter domesticated animals, which are domesticated animals, those which sleep in the city, and animals of the field, those which sleep in the meadow. And tomorrow
Rosh Hashanah.
Tomorrow's Rosh Hashanah. We're getting there.
Okay, Psachim.
Psachim. Similarly, one who transports crops of the Shemitah year from a place where they have been exhausted to a place where they have not been exhausted, or from a place where they have not been exhausted to a place where they have been exhausted, is required to move them. Rabbi Yehuda says, we say to him, go out and bring for yourself. Where it is customary to sell more livestock to Gentiles, we may sell. Where it is customary not to sell, we may not sell. But in all places, we may not sell their large livestock, calves or foals, healthy or maimed. Rabbi Yehuda permits selling in the case of a maimed one, but Ben Shira permits selling in the case of a horse. Where it is customary to eat roast meat on the night of Pesach, we may eat it. Where it is customary not to eat roast meat, we may not eat it. Where it is customary to light lamps on the night of Yom Kippur, we may light them. Where it is customary not to light them, we may not light them. But in all places, we light lamps in synagogues, houses of study, dark alleys, and for the sick. Where it's customary.
That's it. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Kilayim Gimel.
One may plant a cucumber and a gourd in one hollow, provided this leans to one side and the other leans to the other side. The tips of the leaves of one lean to one side and the tips of the leaves of the other side, because whatever the sages forbade, they decreed only an account of appearances. If his field was sown with onions and he wishes to plant one row and leave the standing crop of onions over the space of 2 rows and uproots 2 rows and plants 1 row. Rabbi Akiva says he uproots 2 rows and plants 2 rows and leave the standing crop of onions over the space of 2 rows and uproots 2 rows and plants 2 rows. But the Kachamim say if there are not 12 cubits between one row and the other, he may not maintain the seeds between them. Gourd in vegetable is as vegetable, but in grain it is given a bet rova. If one's field was sown with grain and he wished to plant in it as roll of gourds, he is given 6 tefakim for tending it. If it grew, he must uproot in front of it. Rabbi Yossi says it is given 4 amma to send it. And they said to him, do you treat this more stringently than vine? And he said to them, we find this to be more stringent than vine, since a single vine is given 6 tefakim to tend it, but a single gourd is given a bet rova. Reb Meir says in the name of Rabbi Yishmael, wherever there are 3 gourds in a bet saw, he may not bring in the bet saw into the bet saw any seed. Rabbi Yossi ben Achotef, Ephrati, said in the name of Rabbi Yishmael, wherever there are 3 gourds in a bet core, he may not bring into the bet core any seed.
Hey.
Hey.
Stop, Kalim. Tesvav base.
Baking boards of bakers are tameh, but those of household are tahor. If he paired them with the red paint or painted them with saffron dye, they are tameh. Regarding a baker's shelf that was fixed onto a wall, Rabbi Eliezer rules a tahor, but the sages rule a tameh. A utility plate of bakers is tameh, but the plate of household is tahor. If one made a rim on the four sides, it's tameh. If it subsequently became broken open on one side, it is tahor. Rabbi Shimon says if one prepared it so that it may slice dough upon it, it is tameh. Similarly, the rolling pin is tameh. The screen of a sifter belonging to flour merchants is tameh, but that of households is tahor. Rabbi Yehuda says also the screen of a hairdresser is susceptible to the tumah of the seat, but the girls sit in it and have their hair braided. All hanging loops are tameh except the loop of a household is sifter and sieve, but these are the words of Reb Meir. The Katan say they are all tahor except the loop of a flour merchant sifter, the loop of the sieve of the threshing floor, the loop of a hand sickle, the loop of a tax collector's staff, because they assist when the utensil is in use. This is the general use. Those designated to assist when the utensil is in use are tameh, and those designed merely for hanging are tahor. Okay.
And Sanhedrin.
Where's my Sanhedrin? Oh, it's over here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, babe. Whoever expands the interrogations is praiseworthy. It once happened that Ben Zachai interrogated concerning the stems of figs. What difference is there between examinations and interrogations? In the case of examinations, if one says, I do not know, their testimony is null. In the case of interrogation, if one says, I do not know, or even if two say, we do not know, their testimony is upheld. Whether in the case of examination or in the case of interrogations, if they contradict each other, the testimony is null.
So you get the difference between the two, that there's certain things that are critical, they're critical aidus, that's called the chakira. Okay, is saying what happened, when, where, it's all of those details. When they ask what color shirt was he wearing, that's not actually germane to the point, but they try to lead the witnesses into contradicting each other.
Right.
And that's the difference between the chakiras is the bedika, the interrogation. That's something that is just like a stumbling block possibly for the witnesses if they're lying. Okay.
Okay. You hear me now? Good. I was saying it's similar to what we had in the Mishna with Rosh Chodesh, when they called the witnesses in and they would ask them, was the moon this way or that way, like this.
They interrogate them to see if they're trying to lie. Yeah.
Okay, Gimel. If one says it happened on the 2nd of the month and one says it happened on the 3rd of the month, the testimony is upheld because this one is aware of the intercalation of the month and this one is not aware of the intercalculation of the month. If one says it happened on the 3rd and one says it happened on the 5th, their testimony is null. If one says it happened the 2nd hour of the day and one says it happened the 3rd hour of the day, their testimony is upheld. If one says it happened in the 3rd hour, even if he says, I can present grounds for my own acquittal, they listen to him as long as there is substance to his words. Okay. One more?
I completely missed Mishna Dalet. Would you mind doing Mishna Dalet again for me, please?
Sure. After this, they admit the second witness and examine him. If their words concur, they open with the consideration of acquittal. If one of the witnesses says, I can present grounds for his acquittal, or one of his disciples says, I can present grounds for his conviction, they silence him. If one of the disciples says, I can present grounds for his acquittal, they elevate and seat him among them. And if he does not descend, from there the entire day. If there is substance to his words, they listen to him. Even if he says, I can present grounds for my own acquittal, they listen to him as long as there's substance to his words.
Okay, very good.
But okay.
Shloyach.
Well, to you, Yashikov, to you for getting up early, right? It's not the same time now, right?
Same time.
It's
Same time.
8:25 here, right? 8:25.
Yeah.
Is there any place else in Africa where the time there's a timeline of different hours, or it's Africa the whole time?
I mean, Africa is also pretty wide. If you look at West Africa, they're kind of on Western European time. So, and conversely, I think Ethiopia and Somalia are an hour
Okay,
ahead.
good. That's good. And I just gave. Hi, can you believe what's going on in Ukraine?